All right, this is your chapter 16 homework starter, video 3. Remember, go back and watch, if you haven't yet, video 1 and video 2. You don't have to watch them in any particular order, but video 1 is about question 1, video 2 is about question 2. This video is about question 3. So let's get to it. Question 3 says, Field's company has two manufacturing departments, Foreman and Payton. The company uses the weighted average method and it reports the following unit data for the Foreman department. Units completed in the Foreman department are transferred to the Painting department. And then it gives you a whole bunch of information. And then it says calculate the equivalent units of production for both direct materials and conversion for the Foreman department. And it says calculate the cost per equivalent unit of production for both direct materials and conversion for the Foreman department. Then it says part C, using the weighted average method, assign cost to the Foreman department's output. Specifically, its units transferred to Painting and its ending work in process inventory. So you should get tables that look like these. And let me actually go into Connect and confirm that your tables look like these. Just one quick second while I do this. Just so I make sure our tables look similar. Yes. Yes. Part A, part B. Yeah, part B looks similar. I just need to add in some columns here. One second. Let's go insert columns to the left. You don't have to do this because these tables are already set up for you in Connect. So you don't have to worry about this, but because I do my tables manually, you will need to, I need to make sure that it looks like what yours looks like. All right. And then insert column to the right. And this one is weird because now I can't see it. Sorry about that. Now let's try this again. I'm going to do this. I'm going to insert my column. And you can feel free to, I did it again. You can feel free to bypass all of this because this is not relevant to you again. I'm just trying to set mine up so that it looks exactly how yours looks in the system. And here we go. Now it looks, now it's going to look similar. So this says EUP, EUP, and this says per EUP. This says per EUP. Now it looks similar. Sorry about that. Now let's get into the actual question, which is what you need to know. So the first part says, let's go again. It says, calculate the equivalent units of production for both direct materials and conversion for the Foreman department. Okay. So going back to the question, it tells you, if you look at it, it says that for our Foreman department, our beginning work in process inventory is 25,000. Our units started this period are 300,000, and our units complete and transferred out are 295,000. So immediately this is telling me that um, between the units in the work in process inventory at the beginning and the units started this period, all of those were not completed. So that's 325, but only 295 were started and completed. Okay. So I do want you to take note of that. All right. But it does tell me how many were completed and transferred out, which is the 295. So up here, I'm going to put 295 for my units. right? In terms of my direct materials, 100% of my direct materials um, were added, okay? And so my equivalent units here are going to be 295. In terms of my conversion costs now, again, my completed and transferred out, 295. So I'm going to put, uh, so I have my 295 here. In terms of my conversion cost, 100% of my conversion would have been added to my units that are completed and transferred out. Okay. So that also gives me 295. So again, these were completed and transferred out. So if they're completed, it means that all the direct materials had to be added into them for them to be completed. So that's why I'm putting 100% complete, and my equivalent units would be 295. In terms of my conversion, again, conversions usually your labor and your overhead. And so because these units were completed, 100% of my labor and my overhead, which is called conversion, has been added in for this particular department. So this will also give me 295. In terms of my ending work in process now, it told me that my ending work in process was 30,000 units. And again, all of my direct materials would have been added in here for my ending work in process because it started, and for the process to start, they would have added in the direct materials. So I'm going to put my units here are going to be 30,000. And I think I'm actually missing uh no, I'm not missing a column. Okay. All right. And so my end and working process in terms of my conversion costs, in terms of my direct materials, it told me that these are 80% complete. Okay. So I'm going to take 80% of these and I'm going to get my calculator. So 30,000 times 80, that gives me 24,000. Right. And it told me that my conversion, let's look at my conversion, was 30% complete. So I'm going to put 30% here, percent. And so 30,000 times 30% gives me 9,000. So when I add those, I add these two numbers, and I get 295 plus 24. This is 319. And for this one, I add my 295 plus my 9,000, and I get 304. So that is part one of the question. Part two of the question now says, calculate the cost per equivalent unit of production for both direct materials and conversion for the foreman department. So my costs of the beginning work in process, it tells me here, production cost information for the foreman department follows. Beginning work in process. It tells me that my direct materials beginning work in process is 44,800. So I'm going to put that here. So 44,800. And for my conversion was 15,300. I'm going to put that here. So these numbers are given to me in the question. My cost added this period. So if I look back here again, my cost added this period for direct materials, 1,231,200. So I'm going to put that here. Again, it's already given to me, 1,231,200. Did I put that right? 1,231,200. Yes. And then my cost added this period for conversion is 296,700. sorry, 896, 700. So I'm going to put 896, 700 here. So then my total cost should add up to what they have. Um, so my total cost, I need to, sorry, get my calculator and add these. So this is going to be 44,800 plus 1,231,200. Right? So this is going to give me 1,276,000. And I'm going to add these two numbers. So my 15,300 plus my 896,700. This is going to give me 912. Okay. Now, divide by the equivalent units of production from A. So my equivalent units of production for direct materials from part A was 319. Okay. I'm going to take 319 and put it here. And my equivalent units of production from part A for conversion was 304. I'm going to type that here. So then I divide this number by this number, the 1276 by the 319. So I'm going to take the 1276,000 divided by 319. And that gives me $4 per equivalent unit for direct materials. And I'm going to take my 912, divide that by 304. And that's going to give me $3 per equivalent unit of production. Okay, so that is part 2. Part 3 now says, using the weighted average method, assign cost to the foreman department's output, specifically its units transferred to paint-in and its end-in work in process. So let's start here. Completed and transferred out. So I know that my completed and transferred out for direct materials was how many? It was 295, right? Completed and transferred out, 295. I'm gonna put 295,000 here. All right. And my completed and transferred out for conversion was also 295. Because those are the number of units that I completed and transferred out during the period. Let me just move this. It looks weird sitting there. There we go. All right. My cost per equivalent unit for direct materials, I calculated it right here, is $4. My cost per equivalent unit for conversion, I calculated it here, is $3. So then I multiply my 295 times 4, and that gives me 1,180,000. Then I multiply my 295 by 3, and that gives me 885. And I add those two numbers together, so the total completed and transferred out is 1,180,000 plus 885,000. So this gives me a total of 2,065,000. Okay. Now, for my end in work in process. So my direct materials for end in work in process, let's go back to the question. So my direct materials, my end in work in process was 80% of 30,000. So I need to do 30,000 times 0.8, which gives me 24,000. So I put 24,000 here. And my end in work in process for conversion was 30% of 30,000. So I take my 30,000 times 0.3, and that gives me 9,000. And then I already calculated my cost per equivalent unit for direct materials is $4. For conversion is 3. So then I multiply these out. So 24,000 times 4 gives me 96,000. My conversion is 9,000 times 3, which gives me 27,000. And I add those two together, 96 plus 27, give me 123,000. So then my total cost accounted for would be this number added to this number. So it's going to be the 2,065,000 plus 123,000, which is going to give me 2,188,000. And that is how you complete this question. Thank you.